Boom.
We're here. Welcome, 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 David, to Real Talk, whose surname I am not even going to brave a third time trying to pronounce.
You got it right the second time.
I don't think I did, man. Even in my very best Irish accent, I don't think I got that right. But I really appreciate your encouragement, your enthusiasm, and your kindness. I'm really, really pleased to get the opportunity to speak with you. I love your random messages into my Facebook Messenger inbox on your epic adventures. Where in the world are you right now?
Well, I appreciate that. I just love sharing random stuff whenever it shows up. I'm pretty random these days. But speaking of random, right now I'm in Honduras, Central America. La Ceiba, Honduras, Central America.
And how far away are you from home, wherever that was?
From home, being Toronto, Canada, it's like it took me 21 hours to fly of like connecting flights.
How did you end up in Honduras, dude? How did you end up there? Why? Why are you there?
One day, I was looking on a map on my phone, and I was talking to one of my friends. Her name's Evie. She lives in Mexico, and she's also on like some kind of path to following your heart and being in your truth and stuff. And she's like living fully nomadic. We're having a conversation just about travel, and I was looking at the map on my phone, and I saw Central America. I saw a little patch, like a little patch of border where Honduras was, and something in my heart lit up. And I heard this kind of nudge, this kind of message saying, look over there, zoom into Honduras. So I zoomed into it, and I saw a town called La Ceiba. You're going there. I'm like, but I don't know this place. You're going there. And so I went and looked on like, Canadian travel agency. Is it safe to travel? Blah, 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 blah. It says it's not safe to go there. And so my heart says, forget about that. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just go there anyway. And so the moment I made the choice to, suddenly something cool began happening in my body while I was on the phone to my friend Evie in Mexico. It was like I felt my creative energy, my sexual creative energy began to move upwards into my heart and start channeling. It was like drawing from the source into my heart, and I felt it beaming outwards and it was like something was using my energy to build a new timeline. Like it was like I felt my whole life being shifted towards Honduras slowly. And initially, it was unusual. I was like, "What's happening? What's happening?" Something in me just said, "Just trust it. Just trust it." And Evie on the phone to me says, "Just trust where you're being guided. You're building a new timeline now." And suddenly, boom, I'm going to Honduras. I don't know why. Then Evie, she channeled something. She says, "Oh, you have a past life there. You left something behind there. You have to go get it back." Apparently I used to be there. So like that's how she saw it. I'm like, okay, this definitely aligns. I'm gonna take the risk and just go for it. And so I just set out to get rid of all my belongings, like one by one, gave my desk away, threw away some old clothes, threw away some old books and stuff, gave stuff away, narrowed it down to just nothing but a backpack and a duffel bag. And that's all I carry with me now. That's all I got.
Wow. That's some courage in motion. And how long have you been there?
Since early December, like a month and a half. Yeah.
Wow. And so on your travels there, did you find what you were looking for? Is that possibly
I'm finding it. Yeah. It's like like when I first got here, it was the moment I landed down, something in me said, there's heart here. There's a lot of heart and love in this place. And as I was walking out of the airport, off the plane, like when you walk off and you see like those signs saying welcome, bienvenido, whatever, for the tourists. One of the words was corazon. Corazon means heart in Spanish. And so like it's like tenemos corazon. We have heart. Is what it said. I think it said. And I've been working on my Spanish a lot. It's really fun. And yeah, just like set out. I didn't have a plan. Something he just says, you go into this town first. I went to a mountain town first, sat there for like a week and a half, did zero pointing for a bit. Honestly, I'm just kind of glazing over right now. There's a lot that happened in between.
I love it. Come here. It takes like I'm loving this. I mean, I can feel how I couldn't imagine doing it. I mean, I have a very settled world here, but to be able to do that, fair play to you. It's some adventure. What I was going to ask you is, I mean, I've heard you literally depict what surrender means. So what is surrender to you?
Surrender to me, what I've been discovering is the transition from using your mind to try and figure stuff out and plan what's next and control your surroundings, control your feelings and your behaviors, and like just kind of like make it happen, right? Rather than looking to some kind of event in the future, it's learning to just let go, stop thinking, and learn to tune into this right here and hear the messages it's telling you. And the transition to that has been, it's been like rebuilding a relationship with a lover that I estranged. So like we all have a higher self connection, right? It's that higher intelligence that speaks to us, that gut feeling in our heart, the thing that knows what's right for us. And it's like initially it was like a child, aka my ego, me, the thinking mind that I identify as David, rebelling against a parent, like telling it what to do. And it's like, no, I want to do things my way. I'm not going to listen to you. No, that looks scary. Oh, I don't want to trust that. No, I'm gonna think and plan. And eventually, just kind of like it's like the child in me just learns how to get along with this parent called the higher self, parenting the inner child, you know, right? So eventually, you know, what happened recently was I as I was transitioning into just trusting my heart more and following, I made the choice. This was like yesterday, and I said, I'm ready to be of service. Something me just said that, you know, like I was looking outside on the balcony and I was thinking like, man, you know, there's so much cool stuff I could be doing right now. It's time. I feel like it's time to just get out to the world and see what I can create, just trust. And lo and behold, that same day, like I felt there was the connection between my lower and higher self. It went from being a parent and a child to becoming more balanced. And eventually it was like two lovers. I was re-falling in love with myself.
Beautiful.
And I was like, I told my higher self, like, I pledge myself to you. We're connected. I want to merge with you. We're one now. I'm going to trust you now, no matter what. We've done a lot of inner work on ourselves. We've done a lot of work healing. You've guided me, voice at my back. I'm going to trust you now. I'm going to stop thinking. And so now, like, today, starting yesterday, I just decided to just follow wherever I'm being guided, right? And what the experience is like. Yeah. Continue. Okay,
I love hearing this. Sorry. I'm so excited because it's so rare. It's so rare. We're all like hardwired to follow the head. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't go there. Are you crazy? Yeah. What are you doing? And so to hear this, honestly, I'm like, this is so exciting. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Like one of the hardest things of following your heart is not only dealing with outside resistance, people trying to convince you to do things what they think is best for you out of their form of love for you, but also you not doubting yourself and thinking you're going to regret making the wrong decision. And I found that no matter what happens, following this higher self, its color is very green. Like I see it as green in my mind's eye, and it feels green and bright. It's like it's never been wrong. It's always been right. And the only time life goes awry, the only time life goes out of whack is when I don't trust it, or when I think I'm following it, but I'm following something else. And so what happened like yesterday, literally seconds after I said, I'm ready to be of service and trust you fully. I'm staying in a hostel right now. This building is like a hostel. We stay there, you know, I'm on the rooftop right now on the balcony. A hostel worker who, you know, I became friends with, he just started a conversation with me. He, you know, his name's Sion. He calls himself Sion Rasta. He wears a Jamaican Rasta hat. He's pretty cool. And yeah, we're just speaking in Spanish, and he was like, hey, you know, what he likes a joint, we share it. And he asked me if I do music. I'm like, yeah, I sing. And he said, oh yeah, I sing too, and I do some drumming. And then I told him I do drumming. And then we talk about like different genres of music. He's into reggae, he's into soca. Spanish music's pretty good here. Like it's like a mix of pop, reggae, soca, R&B. It's pretty cool. And we just began talking about it. And then he mentioned something about heart frequencies and high frequencies. And I'm like, hold on. Something cool's happening here. Did I just connect with someone in this new timeline? And yeah, he was talking about like singing from the heart and being in a high state of consciousness and stuff. And then he just began like, you know, singing in Spanish, singing and rapping in Spanish. And I began jumping on with him, just like complimenting him with vocals on the spot, and then drumming on the table as well. And then he was drumming as well. And then afterwards, he's like, yo, let's go sing on the beach tomorrow. And it was like within seconds, boom. I tell my higher self, and he or she delivers. And so it's just been like that the whole time. Like today, I woke up and decided, you know what? I'm gonna do nothing but just follow my heart. I'm not gonna think of anything. Today is like a next level of that. And so what happened was I woke up. I was told to, you know, grab your backpack, find a pair of shoes in your bag. It's this pair of hiking boots, really heavy boots, really weighing you down. You don't need this anymore. But what if I need them in the future? Don't worry about that. Just trust me. Okay, take them. Grab your backpack. Grab an umbrella. It might rain today. It said, and then I left out. It says, okay, leave the hostel, leave the hotel, make a left, go left. And what it's like the heart. What it's like? It's like, you know, a compass, where the compass turns around and the compass has a needle. And when you turn around, the needle gets warmer or colder, or like an infrared, you know, like a metal detector, you know? It was exactly like that. It was like whenever I turned in the wrong direction, it would get like a little bit red. There'll be like a red pulsation, or it'll be darker. Then when I turn around to the right direction, boom, suddenly green, bright. Go here, and it's a little nudge in that direction. It's very visceral. It's a very visceral voice. It sounds like you speaking to you, but it sounds like an infinitely intelligent you from the future that's done it all. It's like you speaking to yourself. It's like, whoa, okay, so I just followed it. I made a left, walked down the street, kept walking, stopped by a store. It said, make a left into this random store. Why? Just go in. But they got masks there. They make you wear hand sanitizer. They got masks very strict. Whatever. Just go in. You're a sovereign being. Just go in. All right, fine. I went in. It led me down a random aisle to a place where I found a random candle on like a desk ornament, like a candle with some sparkles on it and some crystal designs on it. Buy this. Why? Just buy it. It's probably for my mom. Maybe it could be a gift for her. Maybe it could be a gift for somebody. My mind's trying to justify and make stuff up about it, but I realized that does nothing. It's just trying to make sense of what's going on. So I just said, screw it, just buy it. I bought it. I then left. It said make a left. I walked down the street. Okay, now I start asking random people who wants this pair of shoes I'm holding. The gift is in my bag, by the way, so that's for later. I started asking random people, and which each time I'd ask in Spanish, right? My Spanish, I'm still learning Spanish, so it was like with each time I'd ask, people would say no, but each time the question would be improving as I would like find better words and translate and stuff and look on Google Translate and look up Duolingo to find out words. And by the time I got to the person who actually wants it, I turn around in the corner and I see like a random shack on the side of the street. And I asked the dude there in perfect Spanish, you know, like, do you want my shoes? He said, yeah. And he's a shoe shop. He has a shoe shop. He repairs shoes and stuff. And it's, oh, it's a gift for you. I'm like, yeah, thanks. It was perfect. And boom, next thing you know, it was like done. He got what he wanted. I was in alignment. The next thing you know, I said, okay, final thing for you to do. Make a left, make another left, walk down the street. I walked by an old man. He was shoveling dirt out of a house. He was like working there, something to help him build it, helping tend the garden, whatever. I walked by him, and my higher self was like, stop, go back. Just go back. And my mind's like, why would he want a gift? Why would an old man like that want a gift? Stop judging, just do it. Like, all right, fine, I'll trust. And at this point, it was just kind of like watching a movie. It was like, just learn to like sit in the passenger seat and just like watch, let it happen. Just like play, like watching a movie, but it's like interactive, 3D glasses. I'm feeling it, everything, you know, like IMAX, watching it happen. And I stopped and talked to the guy. I asked him, yo, do you want this gift thing I got? And he's like, yes. And we started talking in Spanish together. And he says like his wife would really like this for his living room. And like he said like what he'd be doing with it, how it fits perfectly over here, and like how he likes the candle thing. And we talk and we ask me where I'm from, ask him where he's from. I practice Spanish, he practices English. We're vibing. He's a really nice dude. And now I have a new friend. And boom, I can see him. And then it just gets even better. Like I walk back home, but then my higher self says, wait a bit, just stay a bit outside for a bit, just wait, maybe get some food. And then when time was up, okay, now go into home. As soon as I get there, I see another guy standing there with the hostel worker, Zion, the guy I was singing with. And my higher self says, okay, good, he's here now. Now just speak to him, say hi. I start talking to him. He's a black dude like me. He's also into spirituality. He's talking about meditation. He began immediately talking about like ancient Egypt, Thoth, Kemet, alchemy, living from the heart. I'm like, whoa, whoa. And then he told me that today, his higher self told him that he was supposed to meet somebody. He was supposed to come to the hospital and meet somebody. So, whoa, it was just like, it's like, there's like a gigantic mind that connects to all of us. And when you tap into it, you tap into this unified field where everything just works out for you and everybody. Like, imagine if I didn't trust that day, we didn't trust, something else would happen, but we did, and we connected. And now I have another new friend, 3 new friends in one day who I aligned with just because I began to trust my heart. So now I'm just like, screw it, I'm just gonna trust. just gonna follow it.
What a ride! And you know, yeah. It's really refreshing to hear you speak like this. Your energy is completely contagious, and you can feel, I can feel your absolute joy and your absolute happiness by doing something as simple as just following your bliss, following your heart. Earlier on in the conversation, you mentioned about zero pointing. That's how we connected. I know you worked with Morgan doing the zero pointing. I'm one of the facilitators, and that's how we came across each other when it came to exchanging messages. I love when you send random messages about your adventures or what you're after uncovering in that day. And, you know, by the sounds of it, you've reached a place where you have a beautiful mind-heart synergy going down, and the freedom within that synergy then to just explore your heart and your head and see where it takes you. What I'd love to ask you is, during the process of zero pointing, it takes quite a dedication to silence the egoic mind and to shut down that sound so you can really start to hear your heart and hear that communication. Can I ask you how you have found the journey of doing that, silencing, you know, the mind? If you could talk to that for a second.
That's a lot on that. That's been quite a ride. So yeah, just for like those in the crowd who don't know what zero pointing is, it's like a tool that lets you decondition everything that you are not, leaving behind everything that you are at the level of mind, at the level of emotions, all emotions that are holding you back, all traumas, even stuff stuck in your DNA, like even like toxins in your body. And all you do is that you use your voice and command it to be gone by finding everything and just commanding it manually to be gone, like a lawnmower over your entire being. And what it's been like is you know, like initially I was at home in my mom's house, and I was like, back then I was like really I was so like, felt weak, you know. It was like I couldn't talk to people without feeling too drained. It was like having no boundaries and stuff. I just left a really bad relationship too. I mean, her and I, we didn't really vibe that well, but you know, we separated. You know, I bless her soul wherever she may be, but we just weren't in alignment, and I was still recovering from that. And it was like I started zero pointing, and just little by little, like initially it was like shoveling dirt out of a swamp, just releasing dirt out of the swamp. And what would happen is that as time goes by, like, you know how like a picture changes, like as you add strokes to the picture changes over time. One day you add a few paint strokes here, erase that. Then tomorrow you add a few paint strokes here, then erase that. And it goes from being like this, whatever it used to be, slowly morphing into a different picture. That's what my life was like. So what happened was my toxic relationships began to fall away. I was friends with my ex-girlfriend at the time. What her and I had was very dysfunctional on both ends. We're both responsible for that. I had dysfunction too. She had dysfunction as well. We were creating that, and it served a purpose. And as I was zero pointing ex-partners, and my mom and my dad, and just like ex-partners, crushes, lovers, dates, once I got to the very last person on that list, I think it was like the 150th person, something like that. But hours to this, it's like I had a realization. Suddenly, the picture had changed to one where dysfunctional relationships with women or people in general were no longer a match for me. And I made the choice to end the friendship and to move out of my mom's house. As you know, my mom, she's like, I'm really grateful for her presence. Her and I weren't really getting along very well in some of our own ways. As I had my dysfunctions with her as well. You know, like what happens with your mother or with your ex-partner or whatever, it plays with everybody. The same similar dysfunctions with my ex was with my mom as well. So it's like, it's all me. It's like, whoa, like if you don't deal with it somewhere else, it shows up somewhere else until you figure it out. Because the universe I start to see that the universe is just trying to bring you to situations to have you see what's not working. And so I was going like my whole life from dysfunctional relationship to dysfunctional relationship to abusive relationship with like wounded people who are wounded like me as well. And it was just like really draining and really, really terrible. And eventually, like, I left my mom's house. I went to stay, you know, in like a short-term rental in Toronto. And yeah, like what happened is like the same day I made the choice to end the friendship with my ex-girlfriend, I see a post on Facebook, and it was an advertisement from someone who I don't think I had as a friend. Maybe I had as a friend a long time ago for this 2-month sublet. And my heart began speaking to me. Says, "This is it. Choose this." Okay, so this is just the beginnings of that higher self connection beginning to show up. And so it's like, as you 0 point, those other voices get quieter and quieter and quieter, and the heart connection voice gets louder and louder. It's always there. It's always speaking to you. It's just now it's louder and it's bigger. It takes up more space and it's easier to follow because there are less triggers to, like, you know, take you off of it or make you afraid. So it just gets like, it's like, you know, water moving through a tube of dirt. Eventually the water gets more and the dirt around it gets less. And yeah, so I moved out, and lo and behold, I discovered this roommate, she had some similarities to my ex-girlfriend, but minus the stuff I cleared. So it's
can I ask before you go any further, right? Because this is amazing. I mean, I've gone through all of this process myself, and I'm a facilitator of it. So I love hearing somebody else's journey, the same way as I'm sure Morgan used to love listening to me. I'm ringing up and I'm like, oh, you know, explaining all of these aha moments. You're in the you know, shared space with your mum. You can see the mirror between your mum and your partner at the time. Mm-hmm. You can see the correlation between many different people in your world, same patterns, same traits and characteristics, same everything repeating around you. So you get to the realization and the understanding, this is me, this is my stuff. Yeah. You go back in and you start using the 0 pointing process to quite literally clear this path for yourself, and to clear the channel, because, you know, I heard you say a second ago, this voice, this heart is constantly there. This voice is constantly there, but we can't hear it because it's drowned out by the noise and the distractions of everyone and everything else. And so you get to the point where you clear the relationships, make the decision to make the move for yourself to you know, really move forward. And it's at that point that you realize that once you're in the new space, you can look back at the old and see what you've just cleared. And yeah. So to go back to what you said, when you're in the new position, about to create the new timeline, you can also begin to see the similarities of the old paradigm, your old world, your old timeline, and the new. And it's almost like they're side by side, like we are on the screens right now, and you're in a unique position to be able to view both at the same time. It's very trippy, very cool shit, and I love it, and I love hearing you talk to it.
Yeah, so there is that. It is like looking at two pictures in a way, but because the pictures change so much and my consciousness has also changed so much, yeah, it's almost like some parts of the old picture I can't really remember anymore. The feeling, what it's like, because it's just like it's so far away from me now that it's like, I remember that I used to have dysfunction. I remember I used to be depressed. I remember I used to be easily triggered by everything. I had to stay inside, take a lot of alone time, and all that. But it's like I don't feel the pain of it anymore. It's like I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the old picture with a pair of rose-colored glasses, seeing all the details and everything. But yeah, to continue what you said about what happened next, I moved into the new place, and with this new roommate of mine, her and I got along better. But we had some dysfunctions remaining, and it was exactly everything except what I cleared. Like it was like I just knew somehow something me said, I created her. I created this roommate for a reason. I created you perfectly to learn lessons. And it wasn't that great, but it was an improvement from where I was before my ex-girlfriend or the experience of like living at home, right? But so I just kept on clearing. And as I would clear things, dysfunctions with her and I would start to disappear as well. Or what would happen was we'd have a lot of disagreements in the house, right? Like she had trauma and I had trauma as well. She had wounded feminine energy. She's had that history with like abusive ex-partners as well herself. So she was like a mirror of me as well. Like it was like and so we were just triggering each other. Like I was a person who just triggered her. She was afraid of me, and I just found her really selfish in a lot of ways, and a lot of similarities to my ex, just like less, you know. And I was like, damn it. Okay, well let's just deal with this. And so as I cleared more and more things, you know, like I would her and I would have conversations, we'd have arguments about stuff. I would suddenly be able to see things from her point of view and address a conversation, address an issue. And eventually it was like I was becoming like, as I cleared more and more, she became more and more triggered by me. Because as you clear yourself, you're becoming a clearer mirror. Because you can you can see yourself better and you can see others better. You can then reflect back to them who they are more clearly. But sometimes when it comes to trauma, people who are traumatized, aka everybody, we often don't want to be seen. We want to stay hidden because we're not ready to deal with it. You know, sometimes we don't feel like we can deal with it. It's too much to look at all that pain at once. And so as I would clear and clear and clear more, she'd get more and more triggered by me. Just by like I walk into a room and she would like get really afraid. And I know I understand where she's coming from. You know, she's dealing with that. But eventually it just didn't work out. Like, and how I got the idea to go to Honduras, like initially, like she was gonna go to Costa Rica, and then that put the idea in my head to leave the country. And then a segue happened, and the universe says, okay, like you're not going to Costa Rica with her or her friends, because she was planning to like go with a group, right? Take a bunch of people. But that was just a catalyst for my actual destination. So it's like this whole planning of going to move into the roommate, stay there, sell my things, give things away was just part of the path of where I was going to go to Honduras. It was there all along. It was perfect all along. And I stayed there for 2 months. Eventually I left. She went her separate way. I went my separate way. We both realized that we're just reflecting back things to each other that we don't like about ourselves, about each other. We both kind of like, you know, we didn't leave on great terms, to be honest, but there was this mutual understanding that, hey, you know, we're just not in resonance. And yeah, like that's a rough overview. Like a lot happened in between, but yeah, it's and then Honduras happened,
which is another adventure in itself.
Yeah.
I love listening to the way you're able to look at your picture, look at your story, and how you can see your own. It's like a little a trail of breadcrumbs that you have left for you, and then in this space you're able to witness what you did for you on another level, and how one thing leads into the next and I've experienced it in my own world myself, and it never ever ceases to amaze me just how perfectly we set this up for ourselves without even realizing that that's exactly what we're doing. So you go to Honduras and you get to meet yourself on a whole other level, because from the contact I've had with you, it's like every time, you know, I get like a little update or you're asking a question, or we're just bouncing an idea or a concept off each other. I can witness you going deeper and deeper and deeper within, getting to know yourself better, and from that space, then your growth becomes very rapid. Would you agree? It's like you almost are fast tracking yourself through your own story of the past, through your own traumas, through your own triggers, because triggers is a huge part of when we do this process, being able to identify them, pinpoint them, and then 0 point them where they don't have the same hold. And I'm just wondering, in your experience of doing the process, have you or were you able to feel the energetic shift, the shift within your body, the second that you'd know something, an old program, didn't have that hold over you anymore? Can you feel it?
Yep. Literally, as I'm saying the invocation out loud, I feel it collapsing. And as I'm going down a list of a person or an idea or something or behavior, when I'm done, I'm looking at it and it's like not there anymore. Yeah. And it's like a piece of myself comes back, a piece of myself comes back, a piece of myself comes back. You know, I did a list on sexuality, and what happened was for a few days I couldn't feel any lust whatsoever, and I was like, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? But then something else in me says, like, you're being taken down a different path right now. Just trust where you're going. And it was tough for my ego to let go of, because it was like, as a man or as a human being, like, our entire identity has been formed around procreation, being the alpha, or being attractive, or being successful at life. You know, go to school, get a job, get your education, find a perfect wife. Like, that's all program, right? That's all programming from society about how to be. It's not really us. And so for a second, like, that fell away, and it was like that was the first time I had like a really gigantic shift all at once, because it was like my whole reality, it was just gone. I'm like, what do I chase now? Because I realized that the whole time I was just a man chasing that, just like as if it would make me happy, right? Like every other man, right? And then I'm like, what do I do now? And it's like, well, you can just follow your heart. Maybe you could be of service. I don't know. Maybe there's something else. I know Morgan, she mentioned like what it's like. She being fully zero-pointed, how she mentioned when you clear your sexual programs, you could tap into a higher dimension of sexuality, where you could merge your souls with other people and stuff, and experience downloads and experience something even greater, like infinite bliss. And I became interested in that more and more. And eventually, you know, my ego was just like, all right, you know, it was a tough battle. It was trying to hold on to sex. It was like saying, like, I need this, or I need this. Over time, it's just like, now it's like, I don't really feel like it that much anymore, but it's still transitioning, you know. I'm just gonna let it. I'm just gonna see where it takes me.
Yeah.
And I give up trying to predict what it's gonna look like in the future.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how programming quite literally runs us so deeply that we don't even recognize it as a program? You're talking about the roles of the man, the roles of a woman. Similarly, you know, grow up, get your education, your good job, get married, have kids, have the family, you know, do all of these things. And then the societal judgment of you or your picture if it's not the way it's supposed to be. If you're not married, again, you're like in your mid-20s, you don't have your house in your mid-30s, whatever it might look like. And then the attachment that we have, our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, how they fuel our own programming, fuels the outside story even more, and amplifies and can solidify it for people who aren't even aware just how deep the programs go. One of the things I'd love to explore with you is, you were talking about I guess it's in essence like the death of the egoic mind. And I know from your messages when you correspond with me, from the way you talk and describe things, it sounds like, you know, your mind was a very, very busy place, always trying to compartmentalize things and process things like at a rapid rate. Was it a big task to quieten that down? Or would you find that that's one of the toughest parts of doing zero pointing, or what would it be for you?
Toughest point for me, I discovered that I was a special case where my mind is like a gigantic data bank of a crap ton of information. And so although like you said, for you, yours felt like dominoes, and Morgan and Todd's, theirs like went quickly too. For me, it took a long time to like make a lot of headway, because as I clear one thing, there'd be a million other things trying to like get at me at the same time. So there were more programs. And so when I clear one person, another person, something else would come up. And there was a period of time when I'm like, is this even working for me? And then I reached a point recently, like I think a few days ago, where suddenly I began to break ground. It was like, as time went by, it was like an exponential growth. You know, it was like nothing, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And now it's just kind of like, when I clear this, it's like boom, and boom, and boom. And it's like getting to a point now where that mental chatter is much less. Still there to some degree, but it's much less. Mountains become like a hill.
Yeah. When I'm doing the process, and I mean, we all have our own set of programs to clear. I use it, personally speaking, like a practice in my world now. I was saying this to you in some of our messages. For me, it's like a practice. I've done a huge amount of core work, clearing specific steps as such, so I can really get to know myself intimately, so that if I'm put back on kind of the firing line that old programs would have run me, I have the upper hand over them, because like you said, your capacity to hear your own higher self communicate, to feel and trust yourself. You spoke as well earlier on about how every time we follow our intuition, it takes us closer to where it is life is trying to take us. And again, that was very similar for me. I love the way you describe how when you do a list, it takes you down like a rabbit hole, because there's another list and another list. And for me, I know I described it this way too before as well. It's like starting with this process like a 25-piece jigsaw puzzle that becomes, the more you actually clear, you're recalling your own puzzle pieces, and your 25-piece puzzle becomes a 50, 100.
Oh, I am.
But that's what it is. It's the beauty of it. It's the expansion, right? And every time you're expanding, this is just from my perspective, right? I love this process. I mean, I love it. Every time you expand, it's like you're calling these aspects of your true self back in. And it's the most beautiful experience. I know you spoke about, you know, the sexuality topic there a couple of minutes ago. For me, as I recall those pieces, what I ended up doing for me, and I really feel like one of my journeys in this lifetime was to rediscover what connection really means. Connection with myself, connection with others, true connection. Not temporary connection, not fluid one. And the more I did the process, the more I cleared, the more of these aspects of myself, I was calling them home, the more I would reforge this connection with myself that I never had before. I would look to you for it, or this or that. I would always look outside of myself, always feeling like a shortfall or something missing. And so when I started to do this process and calling these aspects of myself home, my truth, my feelings, like my unfiltered thoughts, my unfiltered beliefs or programs, the connection I formed with myself became more and more and more. And for me, this is just me speaking of my own experience. The capacity to reach a euphoric high that I would get from someone or something else became like a very natural process. It's life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. And I mean, you're the evidence of it right now. You're living your best life, because I can't imagine anybody would be able to shut down the judgments or the thoughts in their head to make such a mammoth decision like the decision you made to follow your heart to where you are right now, where we're having this conversation, without doing that work. And it's it's changing your life in real time, moment by moment. You just shared the story earlier on of that was just today. That was just today. And I know there's been many other stories and experiences that you've had. Is there anything that you would say to anybody who is in the place that you were, say prior to making the decision to explore the world of zero pointing? Is there anything that you would say to anybody who's in that place that you were, and they feel like they don't know where to start, they don't know where to begin?
What's coming through right now is whoever you think you are right now, and wherever you think your life is taking you, that's not who you are. You are so much greater than that. And if you're feeling lonely and looking for connection, that's all within. As within, so without. If you want to change the outside world, change the inside world. Which brings me to my topic. It's a topic of connection. You mentioned connection earlier. Everybody wants to find their lover, right? They want to find their soulmate or their twin flame, or meet friends and stuff. And I discovered that the way you relate to men and women on the outside is exactly how you relate to the male and female energy within you. And as I zero pointed, for those of you who are still still looking for paths and stuff, when you repair that relationship to your masculine and feminine within you, suddenly your ability to connect with people on the outside improves. And it happens because you start to fall in love with that part of yourself. And so what happened recently was a few days ago, actually, I was clearing some more people, and at a certain point, what happened was it was for a brief moment. Like I stopped being a man, like that identity of being a man, like the rules, the regulations, the supposed tos, the have tos, the roles supposed to play. Like I just popped off of me, and suddenly I became just David. And rather than being in the energy of man against woman, it was like I was like boom, watching the man and woman within me, the masculine and feminine within me working together. I was sitting in the center of it, and I look outside and I see people, men and women, and then there's me. It was like for a second I let go of gender, and it was so freeing. It was so freeing, and I found that once I healed the feminine aspect of myself, my ability to connect with women in general is improving, becoming authentic. Like for those of you like men out there who are struggling with dating, or women who are struggling with guys, or even and anybody else who whatever your orientation is, like you can take courses, you can do whatever you want. You can look up books online, you can read Causal magazine about how to do things better. But all you're doing there is just essentially adding a program on top of already a dysfunctional conditioning within yourself. The truth is that we are all masters of masculinity and femininity. We all have it within us. We all have our own natural balance. And if you just undo everything you learned and learn nothing about people or communication, it starts to fix itself. Like you already know how to talk to women. You already know how to talk to men. You already know how to make friends. You just forgot how to by learning how to. And so for those of you watching this, I'm going to close with this. You're already perfect underneath this. You're perfect underneath your attempts at fixing your perfection. Yeah. All you got to do is just come back to who you are. Just undo everything. Undo. And the way you were made, you made yourself. You created this body. You'll soon discover that you created everything, and that who you are underneath all that was perfect, and you didn't need anything else. You didn't need to add anything else extra to yourself. And I'm like 1/3 of the way through the process, and it's just like most of the day I'm in like a permanent state of happiness. Most of the day these days, I only get angry a few times. Sometimes things trigger me. I got a bit anxious on this call, like on this call a few minutes ago. That kind of like passed away now. But what it's like, what Morgan told me, I think what you told me as well, is that when you're fully zero pointed, or whatever modality you use to find yourself, it's like you're in a permanent state of play and bliss, and your gifts come up, you start being able to download things from the universe and just tap into information from within yourself. Like I know Morgan, like now she says she doesn't really read books. She just taps into the morphic field, which is like a field of information, and download things, download whatever she wants to download, like the internet, but for the universe. I'm looking forward to getting that. But
it's really exciting, isn't it?
But yeah, you know, for those of you, like zero pointing is about rediscovering your perfection. Rediscovering your perfection. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a perfect description of it. It's amazing listening to you speaking about it. You're so passionate about it. And it's epic to meet somebody who's as passionate as I am. And you can articulate it so beautifully. So beautifully. I know recently in some of the conversations that we had, I loved the analogy that you used about the car. You remember the car? You were talking about how when we shed all of these layers of ourselves to find our true self, it's like finding and discovering like the most perfect car with the most beautiful upholstery and inside being perfect, outside being shiny and everything. And then, you know, what a lot of us do is kind of leave the car parked up in a nice, safe garage where we're not embodying what we've learned. We're not stepping into it. What I'm witnessing you do on your Facebook page and even via this conversation is you're driving the shit out of that car. So you are.
I'd like to add something to the car analogy too.
Yes, please.
To add to that, it's like we come to life with a car that's shiny, fully new from the front factory, and then like either through, you know, immediate conditioning from our upbringing, tires get slashed, the windows get tinted, the engine gets crusty, and just like suddenly like you're driving through life and you think, oh, my Ferrari is a shitty banger, and zero porting is just about like you think you have to try and, you know, add things to the car. You're like, okay, I need to go get it repaired. I have to go and get new tires. I have to go and change the paint. And it just like, it becomes something that my brother, he's really good with cars. He works with cars. He calls it a rice mobile. It's like someone just trying to add stuff to a car that's already battered. But what zero pointing does is like, okay, reverse. Let's just fix the tires, fix the window, and return it back to the original Ferrari.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Ferrari. I'm a broken down car. No, you are a Ferrari. Trust me. But I'm not a Ferrari. You are. And then you realize that the car you had all along was perfect before you went and messed it up.
Yeah.
And try to change it.
Yeah.
And now you get to drive it.
Yes, you get to drive it wherever you want to, and you know, you stop when you want, you go when you want, you add stuff to it if you want, and then the stuff that you decide actually don't really like this, you get to change, you get to leave it behind again. It's perfect. I use the analogy of buying like a brand new mobile phone, and it comes with specific things to operate the device, to make the call, store the numbers, connect to the internet, send a text message, and take pictures. And I would describe it like, again, over the use of the device, the battery life diminishes. We plug it in and out every single day. The battery life starts to diminish. The storage space starts to get taken up with music or pictures or information. You go to take the picture of your life and a message pops up on the phone. Sorry, full of storage. You need to delete some pictures. And again, what we do is we, especially with the smartphones, start to download apps that we think we need, that we think will serve us, and that we think we'll feel better using them. And all of a sudden, the device itself is to the max. There's no storage. It's slow. It's stagnant. You can't, like I said, can't take a picture without having to delete something else. And it's not operating optimally at all. When we do a lot of the work, this is just my perspective. When I did a lot of the work that I did on myself, it felt like the equivalent of trying to delete an app off the device. And for a time being, it looked good and it ran a little bit better. But what I didn't understand was I needed to uninstall the app from the device for it to be completely removed from it, so that I could create space within the device that stopped the battery life being drained by something that I wasn't even aware was running, and create space so that I could actually, in essence, install new apps that would actually serve me and not deplete me. And that's an analogy I love using, because it's who doesn't have a smartphone in this day and age, and who doesn't depend on them to operate, you know, to the max. But between the phone and the car, I think we've put across a pretty good picture of just how easy it is for us to become swamped with programs if we're not aware that that's indeed what they are. And I think to anybody, say, who's watching this and are like, well, what are they talking about? What is a program? For me, a program is your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, your emotions, your experiences that are distorted, that are almost like contaminated or
and your habits.
Yeah, your habits. And there are things that a lot of the time for me weren't mine. They were picked up, they were learned, they were almost like imprinted, and so deep seated that I just accepted them as my own flaws. Like it has to be me. I'm a mess. I can't get shit right. I fail at this. I can't do this successfully. And what I would then do was fuel my own distortions with even more zero compassion, amplified judgment, huge attachment to my story and my history. And all of a sudden it's like being in quicksand and you're in it and you're stuck and it's like you can't come undone, and then all of a sudden it feels like you're sinking, and then you just have I hate that for a lot of people. It gets to the point where they just have their head above water and then they go, shit, I got to do something because I'm about to drown. You know what I'm talking about. You've been there. You've been at that point where you're like, something has got to change, but I just don't know what, and I don't know how, and I don't know why. And when I found this process, everything that I did before this, it was like it just, it's not that it invalidated everything I did before this. It was so much more. For me, it was lasting. And it was me understanding myself more and more and more, so that I can build on that foundation, as opposed to the foundation of something that was put into my field by someone else, something else, through no fault of anybody else. Like when you're doing your lists, you're literally, you're doing your list on your people, for example, but you're witnessing yourself. You're seeing yourself. You're seeing these distortions. You're seeing all of these things that you have judged this shit out of yourself for your entire life, not even knowing that that's what was active and running in you. So yeah, for me, it's a game changer for sure. What was I going to say? Where is this next adventure taking you? What's in the pipeline for you? What are you going to do now?
What's in the pipeline now is tomorrow I'll be heading to an island called Utila, and something fun is really there, something really fun and heart-centered. And yesterday, I also met two of new friends, two ladies who actually on their way to the same island, staying at the same Airbnb hostel that I rented. So I got a couple of friends that I can meet, and more friends, and wherever this takes me next. And potentially, what I'm feeling is as a potential timeline. These timelines, they're all possibilities. They're all potentials. That's how the quantum field works. It's potentially before my 90-day visa expires, my 90-day tourist allowance expires, I may go out of the country, out of the general area into Mexico, and I might see my friend Evie if it aligns, and then come back into Honduras again, or wherever it takes me next.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love a few minutes ago you're talking about how you reforged the connection within yourself, and within a matter of days and in real time right now, you're reforging connections outside of you because inside's aligned. It's kind of magic, isn't it? It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's you become more responsible, but like not in like what you think responsibility is, but like on a really collective level of what responsibility really is. Like suddenly I'll be having thoughts about something or have intentions to do something or making actions, and immediately I'll get feedback from the universe. Like the other day I was about to go outside and get some food that wasn't very good for me, or do something that will be a bit off my path, and then my higher self was like, my heart was saying boom, 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 boom. It was like giving me like a good no. So I had to leave. I decided to turn around and walk in the opposite direction and follow where it wanted me to go. And it became light again. But then my lower self, me, David, was like mad, like nah, like a parent who takes away a kid's toy. It's like, nah, why do you do this to me? I was in victim mode. It was just like, I was telling my higher self, like whatever you're leading me to, it had better be better than what I just lost. This better be better. Immediately, I see some angel numbers. I see a 999 on the license plate and a couple of 555s, which to me means, a cycle's ending, new change is coming soon. And then after seeing both those, I hear a voice, like a visceral feeling voice saying, "See, don't worry, I got you."
Yeah.
And then something in me was just like, okay, I can start to trust you now. Yeah. And so, like, even with choosing to be of service, and then suddenly the hostel worker wants to sing with me, it's like that. Everything's created in a now. Time's speeding up. It's always you. It's always you creating everything. And it's like tomorrow I could decide to just drop everything and then go back to Canada and live an old life, and then boom, it will show up. Or I could choose to do this. Like even with people who I meet in my life, friends and people, whenever I'm not in alignment with them, or I choose to make a different life decision, the universe will conspire to move people around to match my new frequency, to match my new intention. And it's like, it was equally as relieving as it was daunting, because it's like, oh good, I'm in control. But oh good, no, I'm the one doing everything. It's like the amount of responsibility that comes with having that much power.
Yeah.
It's like,
feel like a Marvel superhero.
Like, yeah, are you ready for that? Are you ready for that much power, responsibility for yourself and your life?
The biggest word I heard you speak to that time was choice. The realization of the choices that you have, that I have, that we have collectively. There's so much power in your choice. It's beautiful, really beautiful. I would love to speak to you again another time and see how your adventures go. And to anybody who's watching, this man is epic for throwing out the short videos with his words of wisdom when the inspiration hits, and I love seeing those. You shared them on your own page, and you shared them into the Soulogy group, and you've been sharing them now more. I love seeing them coming into my own group, Own Your Shift. So that's where I'm catching them there. So keep sharing them, because it's like I said, it's just so epic to come across somebody with your energy and your passion for life and following your heart. It really is. It's contagious and it's very inspirational. So keep up the epic work. I can't wait to see where this journey takes you. I really appreciate you joining me here as well.
Yeah. Like when I found zero pointing, I knew it was the modality for me, because I think like when I was a teenager, I had this idea in my head that the whole point of the universe is to neutralize positive and negative to make it balanced. And then that idea came back to me again when I found zero pointing. Like, oh, wait a minute, that was a premonition to what I'd be doing, neutralizing everything, coming back to oneness. And I spend hours a day on this. It's like when you find that one thing, like it's playing a musical instrument or a passion that stops being work, it becomes like play.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel like work anymore. It just feels like, what's next? And it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah. because you're getting you're filling yourself up, and you're the source of your fulfillment. It's beautiful. Like right now beside me, there's my notebook. There's one that I'm working on. Everywhere I'm able to grab my books because like that, I want more of that. I want definitely more of that feeling.
I've done like over 1,000 lists, something like that, like 1,500 lists in total. It's just been like, it's like,
oh my God. Yeah, but listen, I mean, anybody who's watching this right now, energy speaks, and it's transforming this man's world. I know it has transformed mine. And I mean, all we're doing right now is just being. And it's enough, isn't it? It's beautiful. It really is. To anybody who is interested in finding out more about this, Morgan's website is www.zeropointing.com, and there's some more information on there. And that's it. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and keep us posted with your adventures.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
See you soon. Talk to you later. Bye.